Hello YouTube. Today I have a very simple video for you guys that will be fun to listen to. It's largely going to be a talking head, but I'm going to kind of tab through my clients and kind of give you guys some examples of the tips that I'm giving. But it's largely going to be a talking video. And today's subject is a couple or 5 skill training tips that I have for you to help you enjoy EVE Online more and make wise decisions for the skills that you train. The first tip that I have is put a skill in your queue. Doesn't really matter. As long as you're training something, you're doing it right. We all will change our minds very many times, and sometimes something that you trained because you just wanted something in your queue ends up being useful later. So if you don't have anything in your queue, put something in your queue. I know this is a really new bro tip, but it is something that I feel like needs to be said as the first tip because it's, just kind of a thing. Anyways, all your characters should always be training skills. That way your characters are progressing and or making skills to extract if that's what you want to do. We'll go ahead and hop into game here. And I'm sorry about the belts cleared. Let me clear that out real quick. The second tip is you want to train skills that apply to multiple ships before you train skills that apply to individual ships. So skills such as, hold on, my skills tab here. Skills such as, the armor, hull upgrades, or mechanics, or in engineering, CPU management, faster systems operation, weapons upgrades, just skills that will apply to many different ships. Generally, I recommend training a gun before training, like a Tech 2 gun, before training into a Tech 2 ship, because the Tech 2 gun is easier and it helps more than one ship, whereas the unlocking one specific ship or training one specific ship only unlocks that one ship. And the versatility is nice, and if you train those skills first, then if you change your mind and decide to do something else, you'll already have a lot of the skills trained, and that's really helpful. The second tip that I have for you guys, or no, that was the second tip. That was train things that help multiple ships first. The second tip or the third tip is you don't have to train everything to 5 right away. That is very apparent. When you train something to 5, it takes a very long time to train. So this capacitor management 5 takes 14 days, and there's something that I can train that is more useful to me that takes less time. So you don't necessarily have to pick a skill and stick with it all the way to 5. It is a good idea to train it to 4 and move on to the next skill, because 4 gives you 80% of the benefit. And that leads us into tip number 4, which is the 80-20 rule. And every single skill in this game trains at a rate of 80-20, which means that the skill itself, training it to level 4, takes 20% of the time required to train it to level 5. And the benefit of the skill, that first 20% gives you 80% of the reward. And then training it from 4 to 5 takes 80% of the time and gives you 20% of the reward. So a good example of that is training drone durability here will take 24 days to get it up to 4, but getting it to 4 only took like three days. And if I show you guys a fresh skill, so I'll go ahead and put armor rigging in my queue. So if we train a fresh skill and we see the first skill point takes 16 minutes, the second skill point takes an hour, third skill point takes 7 hours, the fourth one takes a day and 10 hours, and this is 20% of the total time required to train the skill to 5. And then skill point number 5 actually takes 9 days and 18 hours. And you get, like I said, 80% of the benefit in 20% of the time, and you can move on to the next skill. And when you're ready to go on to the next tip, you can go ahead and train it to level 5 and specialize with that skill and actually get the full benefit of having that skill all the way. These do take time to do. And then the next tip is specialization is heavily rewarded, but due to the 80-20 rule, it is extremely costly. A really good example of that is training for this big boy here. Is a Phoenix. It's a Dreadnought that was featured in my most recent video. But the skill to finish training that one is going to be Caldari Dreadnought to 5, and it's a 46-day skill, whereas it only took 5 days to train it to 4. So training this to 5 to fully max out the ship is going to take me 45 days, plus the weapon plus the weapon it uses is also a very long train. So specializing into this ship specifically and getting this ship completely maxed out is going to set me aside like 80 days compared to maxing out. I could get several ships foundation built in that same time. So that's my fifth tip is specialization is rewarded, but it does cost a lot to do, and it's highly recommended you make multiple accounts so that you can specialize into things. And then a bonus tip for you guys, there's a set of skills called the Magic 14. I highly recommend you Google it. I do have a video I made a few years ago. Maybe I'll make another one on the Magic 14 and explain why each skill is important. But get the Magic 14 done. That will build you a foundation for flying very, very many different ships in the game and help you build an account that is more exciting to play, as being able to switch ships fairly easily is nice. But as always, in accordance with the rule, or not the rule, but the tip above, is that if you specialize in something, you will be heavily rewarded. A really good example I have is this pilot here, who can't really do anything except mine, and I trained it into a Hulk right away, and it can't do anything else. It can sit in a Kestrel, but it honestly can't do anything else, but it makes me ISK because it sits in a Hulk in mines. And it's a highly specialized 10 million skill point pilot, but it can actually be something useful for me, even though my main has 240 million skill points. This specialized bit is super helpful to me, whereas a unspecialized character is kind of useless if it doesn't have a purpose. So specialized like mining alt makes sense, or a specialized exploration character makes sense. Specializing into Abyss makes sense. Specializing into a task helps the account actually be worthwhile or help you. But then if you don't have the ability to fly other ships on another account, the specialization is kind of unuseful. You'll be stuck doing that one thing. Anyways, if you guys like this kind of video where I just kind of talk about tips and kind of mind or how one thinks when playing this game, I would like your comments below on what you think of this video. I know this was a short one. It's kind of, there's reasons why a couple short videos happen and a couple long videos happen and then a couple short videos happen. But I'm trying to get more videos out to you guys. But let me know what you guys think down below. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video.